Hello again everyone and welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all doing well. So last night meme stock darling Marin Software went absolutely gangbusters, jumping from $10.73 at open to reach a 52-week high of $19.55 within minutes. This was before settling to a close at $14.24, reflecting a 40% increase in price for the day. In this video, I'm aiming to shed a bit more light on what is going on with this stock by looking into some elements of the recent Instacart announcement, looking at some of the financial indicators, and analysing the potential short squeeze that may be going on and may be at play right now. Ultimately, what I'm trying to do is get a gauge for just how big can this potentially get. But before I do that, I would like to encourage you to hit the subscribe button on the channel and put a like on the video. By doing so, it really helps out a smaller and up-and-coming channel such as mine, and tells me that I'm making content that you want to hear about. So with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So just to give you a bit of a look at how the trade all played out yesterday. So we started off down around this mark here. Here's around the $10.73 where it closed the night before. And you can see there's a bit of a gap here and a bit of a gap here. There's also a little gap here, and there's also a little gap here. Now, the reason why you're seeing those gaps is because there was so much volume, as you can see down here by the volume indicator of trade and movement in the share, that it triggered the, I guess, safety switch of the stock exchange, and the circuit breakers kicked in, and there was a number of temporary trading halts just within the first 15-20 minutes of trading yesterday. So just to give you a bit of an idea on how high that volume was, so the stock has a 52-week average daily trading volume of 16,398,658, and I dare say that a lot of that has been pushed up by trade in the stock over the last 5 or 6 trading days, because just alone yesterday, Marin Software saw 160,247,000 shares change hands, so it is quite a lot. Okay, so in terms of my own trading yesterday, I did actually have quite a bit of success, especially early on in the day. So I actually was carrying a position the day before, which was around this $12 mark, and I was able to sell it quite high early on, up just above the $18 mark. So I was very, very happy with that. That was a great start to the day. Moving on, I did actually manage to do a couple of small trades here for smaller amounts in this period of time here. And I sort of thought maybe I should leave this alone, because I really thought there was potential for a bit of a drop off, but I got a little bit greedy and I bought in again here, and I actually bought in and we saw this sort of decline action here, and I did end up selling off at a bit of a loss eventually, but I did give a bit of time away from the stock. I did return back in and do 1 or 2 more trades along around these points here, and we sort of had a kind of lull there, and this is actually, being in Australia, this is when I had my sleep for the night, and I sort of woke up towards the end, and I did a little bit of trading here and here around. This is just approximately, I'm not exactly sure where it is, but I had 2 more successful trades, and then I thought I might try and go one more time here, as indicated by this little spot here, and you can see still holding this position, but you can see how bad things have turned out for me. So there was a big drop, and I'm still holding stock at the end, but to be honest, I'm actually not that worried. I've made quite a bit on the trade yesterday, even though I did have to give it back a bit of the gains early on. I'm growing in confidence with the stock that there is potential further upside, so I'm not too fussed if I'm still holding this position today. We'll just have to see what happens going forward, but I'm not uncomfortable holding this coming into Friday's trade. Anyway, so moving on, in this video, what I want to kind of have a little bit of a look at is the potential of the Instacart integration, which has been announced recently and has been the catalyst behind much of the price action we've seen in the stock. Also, we were going to spend a little bit of time looking at some of the financials and just some signs that there has been actually a bit of improvement going on prior to this announcement with MRIN. We're going to focus particularly on some items in the cash flow statement. And right now, just before moving forward, I'm going to actually talk a little bit about these 2 items here, the short interest and how that combined with the small market cap and share float can actually be a potential driver for this stock being so big. So finding data on the short interest is a little bit inconsistent at the moment, and I think part of that might have to do with the really high volatility we're seeing in trading in the stock, and also the fact that it is a small cap stock, so therefore it doesn't actually get as much coverage in the media and also in by like just financial analysts in general. So there's not as much information available, and also the information you can find on the shorts may not actually be totally accurate of what is going on. So the shorts data that I've found has been a bit mixed and inconsistent. So I think some of the problem we're seeing with the data around the shorts lately is partly to do with the very high volume in trade that has been taking place, as well as the fact that it is a small market cap company. So therefore it can be actually kind of hard to accurately monitor the shorts movements in real time with this sort of company and price action. Also, the fact that it is a small market cap company means you don't seem to get as much coverage or attention from the major analysts, so there's not as much information going around about MRIN. But just to talk a little bit about the market cap and the short interest, so I've seen figures that the potential short interest is actually above 120%, making it a synthetically shorted stock. And the shorts that are out tend to be for very short periods of time, and the cost of holding the short position is quite high given the volatility of the stock. When you combine this with the fact that we are dealing with a company with a small market cap and share float, the market cap currently being 118 million, and there's approximately 11 million shares floated by the company. Digging a little bit deeper, you'll find that 75% of those shares are held by retail investors. So this, gives the investors a real chance of actually taking control of the stock. It's not held majority by bigger firms; it's by individuals like you and I. And just to give you a little bit of a comparison of how this market cap stacks up to other companies that have undergone recent short squeezes, the classic is to look at GameStop or GME. So GME has a market cap of $14.78 billion. So it's 140 times bigger than MRIN. So with a market cap of $118 million, someone like me could actually potentially easily buy 1 or 2% based on liquidating some other assets, of course. But everyday investors can pile into this in big numbers and really take control of this stock and really give it a proper squeeze with the shorts. And I've rambled there a little bit, sorry guys. So let's have a little bit of a look at what underlines the recent Instacart announcement and Marin Software deal, what this can actually mean for Marin as a company. So if you look at the right of the screen, you can see a bit of a diagram of some of the retail partners that Instacart teams with, and there's some big names there. Okay, you got your Walmarts, your Aldi's, your CVS, your Petco. I live in Australia and I know a lot of these. Costco's are there. Come on. So there's a lot of big retail partners there, and this is just the big ones. There are a lot of small ones that partner with Instacart as well. So Instacart is an American company that operates a grocery delivery and pickup service in the United States and Canada, and it's kind of expanded a little bit into some general shopping as well. The company offers its services via a website and mobile app. The service allows customers to order groceries from participating retailers, with the shopping being done by a personal shopper, really tying into that growing gig economy setting that we find ourselves living in. So as you can see in the diagram, Instacart has lots of partners, more than 600 national, regional and local retailers, including unique brand names, to deliver from nearly 55,000 different stores. So there's a good chance that if you're living in America or Canada, particularly in the urban areas, that Instacart could potentially serve you with a presence in 5,500 cities. That's saying quite a lot. Now, what's quite interesting about Instacart is the potential accuracy of Instacart's targeted marketing. Okay, so just to give you a bit of an idea, think about some of Instacart's competitors when it comes to getting dollars from businesses that want to market their products. Okay, so these online companies, they sell their marketing services on the grounds that they can target advertising at who you want your product to be in front of. And just to give you a bit of a thought process here, so let's look at some of the competitors here. So Google knows what people search for, but people search for the most random stuff on Google. However, Google builds up a bit of a profile on you and is able to target ads at you based on that and based on the nature of your search. Facebook knows what you say, and what you interact with, and even probably build up a bit of an idea of your things like your beliefs and ideas based on the way you interact with material on their service. So they do get to know you Facebook gets to know you on a bit more of a personal level. YouTube knows what you watch. So if my channel was monetized right now and you're watching this video, there's a very good chance that you're going to be seeing an ad with some sort of financial service being sold to you. Okay, so YouTube knows what you watch and it can target ads at you based on that. Amazon goes to another level. So Amazon knows what you purchase. Okay, Amazon sells lots of different things and they can build up a bit of a profile on your interests, and they can target advertising at you based on that, as well as all the cookies and stuff that goes on as well with Amazon and the other sites too. Now Instacart, that takes the Amazon model to a much more, intimate level. So while Amazon knows what you purchase, Instacart knows what you purchase regularly. It knows things like your brand preference, it knows things about your diet. Okay, so Instacart can actually build a much more intimate, understanding of their clientele. This is really what a lot of the people who advertise through Instacart want. It's because it can connect them to customers on a much more intimate level. They can really find the people who want to see their brands or are the most likely to interact and buy their brand. And because it's a shopping app, it can actually be something that's connected straight to it. So they see that, oh yes, I'll add that to my cart. Okay, so there's a lot of potential there for Instacart, and it's one of the reasons why this integration with Marin Software is actually quite a big deal, purely based on the potency of Instacart as an advertising platform. So just really briefly looking at some financials and a bit of a snapshot from my IG trading app. So as you can see, over the years that Marin Software has been operating, the last 5 years or 6 years, they have not had a positive income. They've been running at a loss. All these are below zero. Interestingly, there was a bit of a trend of improvement going on here, and this is when the pandemic hit. And what was quite interesting is that they did not actually lose too much after that, even though a lot of companies felt a loss. Theirs was not that great. Something that has been a little bit more worrying for Instacart, and this has got to do with the declining share price. Like, the total equity in the company has declined significantly. This represents their share price falling from about $15 down to $1.20 as it was a couple of weeks ago. So their equity, or the value of the company, fell below $20 million. So I already mentioned today that the market cap's up at around $118 million now. So this is not reflective of that. This would be reflective of their most recent balance sheet, which is slightly cut off there in the title. And last little thing to look at is the cash from operations. So they have actually had a year of positive cash flow in recent years. However, there was obviously a bit of a dire situation going on here, and I kind of would think that a lot of this particularly negative channel here would be a loss of advertising due to the pandemic. A lot of businesses were shutting down. Therefore, things like, not shutting down, but therefore advertising was not as central to their strategy going forward. And that's potentially led to the particularly poor cash flow from operations. There was obviously a bit of a sign of improvement, but there's still some issues going on here. So that was a bit of a worry there for Marin Software. Now just having a really quick look at their movements in their cash flow statements on an annual basis. So you can see there is this little trend here of the negative cash flow. It has gone on for a long time, as you saw in that very small chart before. 33, 16, 31, 41. So 2019, last year, 12 million, and then 2020, 14 million. So the change in the cash flow wasn't that huge due to the pandemic. So that actually kind of suggests that they have been managing their financials quite nicely. So despite downturn in revenue last year due to the pandemic, they were actually able to keep it close to the figure that they had in 2019 in terms of net income. Now just looking at the cash flow statement on a quarterly basis for this year. Again, focusing on the net income, the starting point. What's interesting is that you can kind of see where the pandemic probably hit its peak in terms of damage to the cash flow or the income of Marin Software last year, and you see this steady increase through the year of declining revenues, peaking in the December quarter of last year. However, what is really encouraging is that from this peak, Marin Software had actually managed to really scale back that loss, that negative cash flow, just down to -2. So that's actually quite a positive sign. So like I kind of pointed out in the video I made on this yesterday, that it will be really interesting to see what comes out in their financials, which is due to come out at the start of August, to see if this actually shows a positive figure. I suspect that if it does, it's just going to actually further drive this stock to the moon. Sorry to use that cliche. Okay, so just wrapping up really quickly. So my final thoughts on Marin Software going forward. So the company is actually on a positive trajectory, and this Instacart deal only further spurs this on. So that's quite encouraging. Also, if you're someone who likes to look for those short squeezes, the short data coming out, if it is accurate, may very easily mean that the company can get into the hands of retail shareholders, and that can potentially make the current trading range between $10 and $20 an absolute bargain. However, there is still a lot of risk in this stock, and there's every chance that it could still fall away because we don't know enough about the current financial health of the business. We kind of have to wait until August for a bit more of an update on that. I'll just sort of finish saying that this is still a very risky stock to invest in. So while there is a huge potential upside, like I mean quite big, there is also the potential for huge losses, especially given the movements we've seen in recent days. So invest at your own risk. Okay, everyone, so that's more or less it for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope it was useful and you enjoyed it. If so, please, I encourage you to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know your thoughts on Marin Software down in the comments below. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.